Greetings and salutations. My name is OJ as always, and welcome back to another episode of the Overwatchathon, a series of videos where I go over every single character in, well, Overwatch. I'll be covering their lore and personality, their gameplay and abilities, as well as their design and cosmetics. Like, comment and subscribe if you feel so inclined and if you enjoy the rest of the video. But with all of that preamble done and dusted, today we are going to be talking about Overwatch's Golden Goose, a character that, although I initially liked, I quickly became sick and tired of. That being none other than Kiriko Kamori. Now, as I like to do in all of these videos thus far, let's start by discussing Kiriko's backstory, her history, lore, all of those lovely jubbly little words. And do not worry, I will address the elephant in the room once we get to it. But with all of that said, her story starts with, of course, her early life, in which she was raised by her grandmother and mother in Kanezaka. Her grandmother taught her about taking care of the Fox Shrine, traditions, and the importance of community. She was a highly spiritual woman, and her spiritual beliefs strongly influenced Kiriko and shaped her fighting style. In addition to having Kiriko sweep the floor of the shrine, her grandmother taught her the ways of healing and how to summon the Fox Spirit. Kiriko and the Fox Spirit as such bonded quite closely. On the other hand, her mother was a fierce ninja who believed in action, standing up for oneself and fighting for what was right. Both her mother and grandmother wanted Kiriko to follow in their individual paths, but she was unable to choose. Training quieted her mind and opened her to the guidance of the Fox Spirit, while her bond with the spirit allowed Kiriko to protect those who couldn't defend themselves. As such, she attempted to follow both paths. Kiriko's mother trained Genji and Hanzo Shimada in the ways of the sword, as well as other ninja skills such as how to wall climb. As such, Kiriko both grew up with them and learned alongside the duo, becoming a sort of cute little niece figure to them. Those are not my words, those are the wikis. I do not like how that is written, I must admit. Because of this, Kiriko was a frequent visitor at Shimada Castle, and spent many years of her childhood staring in awe at Kanezaka's fireworks displays from the castle's balcony, such as those at the end of a summer festival. And now it is time to address the elephant in the room as a short interlude into reading of her story, and that's to do with her age. Her origin summary states that Kiriko joined the Yokai, a group I'll get to later, when she was 20 years old, which implies, of course, that she is at least that old. However, that same short seemed to conflict with this at first by also stating that she was 7 when Sojiro Shimada was assassinated, which is of course Genji and Hanzo's father. This also contradicted by her hero page, which states that she was 12 when this happened. So now there's this big gap of her being 7 to 12 when Sojiro was assassinated. But as the Yokai story states, the Shimada were some 10 years gone now, that's an exact quote from it, which logically would make Kiriko 17 in Overwatch 2. However, in a letter between Kiriko's parents, it was mentioned that some 12 years had passed since the Hashimoto clan had taken over, again, a group I'll discuss in a moment, which would indicate that Kiriko is 19 years old, which again, doesn't line up with her origin summary. However, an important detail to consider is that this message was released as part of the original Overwatch title, but Kiriko only made her debut in Overwatch 2, which is set 1 year after the Recall cinematic, adding a likely additional year and bringing Kiriko up to 20, which fits with what was originally stated. However, that explanation is largely consistent besides one point, and that's the point of her growing up alongside Hanzo and Genji, who, from the image that I'll show on screen and probably already have shown on screen, they appear to be in their mid to late teens, which is strange because based on the two's originally mentioned ages, 13 years ago should have set the two at being 25 and 23 respectively, so Hanzo and Genji. This would seem to suggest that instead of around 10 years ago, it had instead been 20 years since their father was assassinated. But that makes absolutely no sense, as that would mean that Kiriko is in her mid-20s to early 30s. The Yokai have accomplished little to nothing of note against the Hashimoto clan despite being active for around a decade and conflict with the previously mentioned information of it being closer to 10 years since the assassination. So because of this one image and this one decision to try and put her into Genji and Hanzo's backstory, her age discussion just completely falls apart. Because if she was there to grow up alongside the two of them, and, you know, their dad was assassinated at the specific time that has been stated multiple times across the board, she would be 30. Or at least late 20s. Like, and her age in game is stated per the website, you know, like the official Overwatch website where you can go look at all the characters. They have their ages listed on there. Kiriko's 21. That doesn't make any sense. Because she is included in Genji and Hanzo's backstory, which I do have issues with, and I will mention later, her age does not make sense because of this one decision. I'll discuss it more when we get to my problems and qualms with her lore. But anyways, before I get too off topic, let us return to where I left off. Of the two Shimada brothers, Kiriko was especially close with Genji, as they were both mischief makers, and they often hung out at an arcade in Hanamura together where they got into trouble, and even got into trouble within the actual Shimada castle, and as such, Hanzo treated her like a nuisance. Now again, her age discussion comes up in even her own lore, where it says, between the ages of 7 and 12, Kiriko witnessed the fall of the Shimada clan, and the assassination of Sojiro Shimada, which of course I already mentioned and discussed how that doesn't really make much sense. The Hashimoto clan took over the Shimada's former turf in Kanezaka, terrorizing the community. Furthermore, the clan abducted Kiriko's father, forcing him to make blades for them, as well as using him as leverage in case Asa, Kiriko's mother, attempted to attack them. For her safety, Kiriko moved in with her grandmother, and started going by her grandmother's surname, of course indicating what I mentioned earlier where her name changed from Kiriko Yamagami to Kiriko Komori. Under her grandmother's care, Kiriko forged a close and lasting bond with the fox spirit, serving as a shrine maiden. Kiriko came to understand the depth of her parents' predicament and the spreading pain the Hashimoto were inflicting on Kanezaka. She grew to loathe the Hashimoto. From Tokyo, Kiriko's father supported Kiriko's feelings. Witnessing years of the Hashimoto's injustices, Kiriko vowed to restore peace to her hometown. And from this point forward, we get to her cinematic that released before the release of Overwatch 2. It is 9 minutes long, and I am going to summarize it very quickly, because there isn't really too much to it. It's more a showcase of her personality and her connection with her mother more than anything. It basically just shows, after her grandmother died, which, I mean, that happened, that kind of gets like swept under the rug for some reason. She returned to her home to free her community from the Hashimoto's grip. And she then began to live on her own, where her mother would consistently sort of visit her and question her and make I was going to say make fun. I don't mean make fun. I mean kind of be concerned of her eating habits, how she was living, how dangerous it was with the Hashimoto around. In the cinematic short, we get to see her interact with some of her neighbors, I think. There's an old man and a young girl who can't speak. She uses sign language. And Kiriko also does seem to know sign language, obviously the cinematic. She fights some Hashimoto, says that they should never return, and the two, and Asa and Kiriko kind of, you know, mend together because Asa believes that she should stop kind of believing in spirits and made up beliefs, but of course, as you can see from the cinematic, she can use those supernatural abilities to, you know, protect the people of, well, Kanezaka. So Asa's kind of worries are misplaced per se, and that's the point of the cinematic, to show that fact. And beyond this, she again doesn't really have too much. She does have her own manga. I say manga like it's a continuous running thing. It's like a single issue thing, and it kind of just explains her joining up with some teens to take on the the Hashimoto, and eventually by the end of the manga she forms a group known as the Yokai, which, like spirits of old, would strike fear into the Hashimoto. And we do get to kind of see them. The yokai aren't really explored at all. I gonna be honest, I kind of wish they were more prevalent. I do like the idea of them, personally, because they're a group of obviously like I say kids, they're all like 20-something, kinda, maybe, I don't know. Either way, all of them are based off of different Japanese spirits and kind of act as like a street gang. Like there's a group, there's a picture of them like as a group from her origin story, and like one of them is based off of a tanuki, one of them is based off a kappa, and of course Kiriko herself is based off of a kitsune, which I think is a, you know, neat idea. I actually kind of wish we had one of the other members, especially the kappa. I'm sure I've already thrown the image up on screen by now, but the Kappa is actually an Omnic dude, which I think is really cool. I think that's a really cool idea that like an Omnic is part of this group and he's displayed as a Kappa. I think that's a neat thing. But either way, moving on from, you know, the mention of the yokai, we have like kind of this jump of her personal story to her suddenly being involved into the main story of, you know, Null Sector taking over the world, blah, blah, blah. Null Sector moved on to Tokyo, and Kiriko saw it as an opportunity to use the chaos as a cover to infiltrate the Hashimoto stronghold and rescue her father. But, well, she ended up rescuing Hanzo, who had been captured by the Hashimoto, which, I mean, how? I'm going to be completely honest. How? We're talking about Hanzo here, right? How did he get captured? Either way, we don't know. She helps him, they fight the Hashimoto, and Kiriko kind of says to him, like, oh, by the way, is Overwatch going to come help us or anything? And he says, he doesn't say it, he goes silent, and she just takes that as a big fat no. And although she was friends with the yokai, they would not be able to handle Null Sector, and that's per her own admission, that's not just me saying that. And that's it. That's all Kiriko has for lore right now. Her story kind of just ends there. I think the two of them, like Hanzo and Kiriko, go back to Kanezaka together, but I don't know. They kind of just they end it there. That's all. Her lore just stops there. And as I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of qualms with it, and most of it has to do around with her kind of weirdly forceful inclusion into Genji and Hanzo's story. I'm not going to say Genji and Hanzo's stories were like airtight masterpieces, but they were pretty good. I think most people enjoy the Dragon cinematic the most out of the original lot. I certainly do. Genji was one of my favorites. I think he was like the first character that I really grew attached to in Overwatch. I like saw dragons when I was like, how old were I? I would have been like 11 or 12 when I saw dragons, like the cinematic. And I was just enamored by the story and Genji specifically. I mean, come on, man. My favorite color is green, and he's a green cyborg ninja. Well, that's like an easy win for a 12-year-old. But it's just weird that, at least weird to me, that in all of Overwatch 1, not once did either Genji or Hanzo mention Kiriko in any way, shape, or form, or even like give a vague reference to a niece figure in their lives. And none of, especially Genji, because obviously per, you know, her own backstory, apparently the two of them were like really close. So why Genji not once in any interaction with Hanzo, with anyone else, would not mention her, I think is odd. But that's probably due to the fact that she wasn't even a consideration back then. And as a result, it makes her feel kind of forced in. I already discussed the age issue. She wouldn't have even really been alive, let alone young and like old enough to train alongside the two of them, if that picture shown in her cinematic is anything to go by. The both of them would have been in their 20s, and she should be in her 30s in Overwatch. Like, it doesn't make, or like late 20s, early 30s. I already discussed the age issue, right? So that's bad enough that she kind of just feels kind of shoved into their stories, and the two of them had never mentioned her before. And just like the rest of the Japanese characters, Hanzo and Genji included, she does have magic. It's just magic, right? Let's can be completely honest right now. Her Kitsune powers are just magic. And if I remember rightly, I believe one of the main writers of Overwatch said that there is no magic in Overwatch, and everything has a technological explanation in some way, shape, or form. But I'm going to be honest, going to be frank, that's bullshit, all things considered. Genji and Hanzo were already examples of, you know, magic just straight up existing. Like, they can't just... It's not like the dragons, it's not like Demon Slayer, right? Where the writer said, oh, the visual effects with, like, the fire on the sword is just, you know, imagination. It's just there for the coolness. It's not like the dragons are just cool things that don't actually exist, because Hanzo in the Dragon cinematic gets hurt by his own dragons that he shoots out of his bow and arrow. They do exist. The dragons exist. I don't know how they exist, actually, personally, but I can only presume it's magic, right? Same goes for Kiriko. The fox spirit is straight up magic. There's no technological explanation for that. Her Kitsune Rush ultimate, where it creates the kind of shrine gates, that is magic. Zenyatta has been in the game since day one as well. He's floating. He floats off of the floor. I mean, that can at least be explained by, you know, some special Omnic stuff, right? I don't know, maybe he's got hover pads in his ass. But, of all, like, the floating orbs around him, I don't know how that works. How does he heal people? How does he discord people and make them take more damage? That doesn't make any sense. That is magic. And that kind of thread of magic existing has only further been continued with the release of Wu Yang, someone that can literally control water, the element, or his sister, Anran, who can control fire, the element. And they don't give us a technological explanation for it. Like, that's the thing. If they actually try to give us an explanation, that'd be fine. But you can't just say, oh, magic doesn't exist, and then not actually tell us how things like the dragons that Genji and Hanzo have, or the Kitsune that Kiriko has, even exist. So that is not really a problem specifically with Kiriko, but she's just kind of a greater exemplifier of the problem that already existed. And I think that her existence, although I do believe a good bit of it is kind of rooted in sexism, did kind of bring the issue of magic existing in Overwatch to people's attention. And part of the reason, I know this can sound really stupid, but I think it's because Kiriko just doesn't have aura. I'm just going to be so honest with you. I think the reason why people were able to look past Genji and Hanzo having dragons at their disposal is because they were cool. They were really damn cool. Like, you see Genji pulling a dragon katana out of his back, that's got aura, right? Let's be honest. I know that's an overused term, I know it's an old term, but that does have aura. Kiriko summoning a fox spirit, yeah, it might have aura to some, but I don't know if it's got the same level of aura as, summoning dragons. So, I do think there is a part of sexism at play here, let's be honest. People didn't criticize Genji and Hanzo, but then they criticized Kiriko. Yeah, that is kind of weird. It is kind of weird, I will admit. But she is still a proprietor of the problem of magic existing. And again, Wu Yang, just released, who also proprieties this problem. But even besides that, there's still problems with her lore just generally being kind of boring, kind of safe. I just personally do not really care for her lore. It's very standard, not really anything that jumps off the screen and really gets to me. And again, the stuff with her age and how she's kind of forcibly put into Genji and Hanzo's backstories without any kind of, without really thinking about it, it kind of just feels really weird. It just kind of feels wrong to me. I don't like it. And the dislikes do continue to her personality, for the most part. I don't dislike her personality as much as everyone else does. She's relatively bratty, all things considered. She can be quite cocky, kind of returns any sort of, what would you call it? Like, any nasty remarks to her are usually returned with force, and there's nothing wrong with that. I got no qualms with that. What I do have qualms with is how she talks to Hanzo. I really, like, she can backchat to everyone else all she likes. I don't really care. I don't find the personality idea very interesting. Again, it feels quite bog standard. I feel like I've seen many a kind of bratty young Asian girl in different forms of media in some way, shape, or form. But, like, I don't have a qualm with it. I know some people got, like, really annoyed with it and, like, they wanted that changed. I don't care. I'm sorry, one of my favorite characters in the game is Ash. Ash is bratty as all hell. She can be really mean sometimes. But I don't like how Kiriko talks to Hanzo. I know she has qualms with him, but there is a specific interaction where she says that her mother is wondering whether Hanzo kept up training with a blade. And of course, he responds with, in turn, that he swore to never pick one up again. Because he killed his own brother with one. So we know this. We know that he killed his own brother with a katana, and then from that point forward, because of the guilt and the weight on his conscience, he swore to never pick up a sword again. And in return, Kiriko responds with kind of a joking saying, oh, I'll tell her you're considering it. Like, huh? Hold on. So, maybe Kiriko doesn't know. Maybe Kiriko doesn't know that, Hanzo did that and he has this much guilt on his conscience. But still, when someone says to you, I swore to never pick up a blade again, in a sad-ass solemn tone, you don't reply in turn with, like, a remark. I feel like you should probably be able to read the room and tell that, yeah, that's probably something to think about. That's probably something that he has weighing on his soul. I don't like that interaction. I really do not like that one. Besides that, all of our other interactions are fine. I think they're just whatever. Again, she's a character that initially I did kind of like her. You probably noticed that the title of the video is a character that I grew to hate. And that's because initially I did kind of like her. Mostly because, here's a fun fact, I had never really watched any of her backstory stuff or read any of her backstory. I saw people complaining about it, but at the time I wasn't like super into Overwatch's lore, and I didn't really care at the time. Like, oh, she doesn't really fit into the lore? Oh, whatever, I don't really care. But now I do. I do care about the lore, and I care about the consistencies. And I care a lot about, like, Genji and Hanzo's lore, because those are characters that I like. So when I find out that they've kind of put a character who didn't really have any interactions with them beforehand, had never been mentioned, and was suddenly, like, kind of close with the two of them the whole time, I don't know, that feels kind of weird. And I can see where people come from when they say that she feels like a self-insert. Because, especially when you know because we know from development that they wanted to create a healer that appealed to DPS players, i.e. Genji. You can see where I'm going with this. They wanted a character who was a support that appealed to Genji players. So, what do? They kind of force her into Genji's lore, so people that already like Genji can get along with the idea of liking Kiriko, because, oh, she's friends with Genji. I like Genji. I'll play her. I don't know, it just feels kind of weird. It feels like they couldn't think up a reason for why DPS players would want to play her outside of, you know, obviously her kit, which I'll discuss in a moment, but also, you know, her connection to Genji. Genji's one of the most popular DPS characters in the entire game. So, of course, they're going to try and, like, I don't know. It's just weird. I just don't like how Kiriko is included into the game, all things considered. And the fact that her lore doesn't really have much to say about it beyond, you know, like, the controversies around her is, I don't know. She's just a weird character. I did used to like her, but then I started caring about the lore. I heard some of her interactions, and I was just like, that kind of puts me off. And there is also another reason why I grew to hate her, and that actually is what we're going to talk about next, which is her gameplay. I do apologize if this section was a little bit messy, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to say. She feels oddly shoved into Genji and Hanzo's lore, whilst her own lore doesn't feel particularly unique or interesting to me. At least, of course, it's all personal opinion, right? These are personal pieces about how I feel about these Overwatch characters. So you may like Kiriko's story, you may relate to it, you may find it yourself sympathetic to her struggles, blah, blah, blah. And if you do, all the more power to you. I just do not. I do not in any way, shape or form, and I don't find her particularly interesting. But that's not to say that you can't find her interesting yourself. But with all of that said, and again, apologies for this section being a tad bit messy, and maybe a little bit too long, I would like to now move on to talking about her gameplay and her abilities. Please do keep in mind that I use OBS to record my audio and gameplay for this segment, so if I sound a little bit different, I do apologise in advance. But with all of that preamble said, let us now talk about her gameplay and her abilities. Right, so here we are in the ever so lovely and ever so helpful training range to talk about Kiriko's gameplay. And you may notice something immediately on your screen, that being that there is a little shimmering gold effect on the weapons, and I feel like this is proof that at some point in time I did like her. I'm sorry, I'm not someone that particularly plays competitive too much, I feel like I should state that, and yet I still decided to get Kiriko's golden weapons. I don't know what overcame me. Initially it was kind of just, wow, new character, this character's cool, and then I started caring about the lore. A season later after she came out, and I was like, oh shit, was this a good decision? Probably not. Either way, this is a permanent stain on my record, but I say permanent stain. It depends on how you see Kiriko, whether this is a stain or not. Either way, I did mention that I have qualms with her gameplay, and we'll get to them as we go through them. First things first, she has a passive. She's got Genji's passive, and Hanzo's passive. She can climb up walls. Relatively simple to understand. You go to a wall, climb up it, go up the full distance, climb, etc, etc. This allows her to, of course, get to higher up areas to, I don't know, heal easier. I don't know, it's just extra mobility. You can just, you climb up walls. What else really needs to be said? It allows you to get some form of verticality on most maps, and allows you to fight or heal from, you know, safer distances, or, of course, higher up areas. Now, moving on to her weapons, because she has two of them. Those being the Healing Ofuda and the Kunai. The Healing Ofuda is a kind of, it's not a hit scan, it's a projectile. You aim at your allies and you kind of send out talismans that do burst healing to, well, allies. It does 130 healing per volley. Each individual slip of paper does 13 healing, and there is 10 of them in total, and it has a range of 35 meters. And of course, to show what it looks like, if you are not aiming at an ally and you just throw them out, you throw out all of the 10 kind of blue paper towels. paper towels? They're not paper towels. They're kind of, what are they? They're just paper, right? Talismans? Paper. What is an Ofuda? No, it is talismans. Yeah, it's like paper talismans. Either way. You throw them out normally, they're just blue. If you aim at an ally, you throw them out and they're yellow. And you do your big burst healing. And you can do this, you know, relatively quickly. You can hold down the left mouse button to, of course, just throw them out in succession. And this is basically where all of Kiriko's healing is going to come from. And it's very good healing. It is, of course, limited to the fact that it is, you know, single target. But it's 130 healing, which is really, really damn good. And the range on it is really damn good. I mean, look how far back I am. Only from, say, if you are in range to see the left shift icon on someone, you are in range to heal them. And you can see that this is, you know, really good. This is really good. And I complained about this a lot in Juno's video, but I'm sorry, from that distance, right? Juno is only allowed to heal for 20 health. Whilst Kiriko gets to do the full 130. I know she has, you know, projectile travel time and Juno is hit scan. I know there's a difference, but the difference between 20 healing and their 130 healing is quite noticeable. It's very good healing. It's very good healing. Admittedly, you do have, of course, to aim, but it basically kind of aims for you, really, because as long as you're just aiming in the person's general direction, the Ofudas are going to hit the person, and then they're going to do the 130 healing, which, again, as I said, is quite a lot, all things considered, for a basic healing tool. I mean, if we just say go into the hero select screen, like if we go to like someone like Anna, right? What's her healing per shot? 75. Go to someone like Baptiste and go to his grenades. 90 if you hit direct heal. Like, 130 is a lot, right? That's quite a lot. I mean, if we go to someone like Lifeweaver, who of course has to heal up the Blossom, it's only 80 healing at max charge. And actually, that's really interesting. He has to charge up his projectile to get 80 healing. And it takes a moment to actually, like, fly through the air as well. But he only gets to do 80 healing, whereas Kiriko just aims in the general direction and does 130. Huh. Well, this is... Okay, I'll obviously get to this a lot more when we get to cosmetics, but she's a bit of a golden child. She kind of feels like she has a perfect kit. And, well, this is the first example of it. This is a lot of healing. She doesn't really have to deal with any of the negatives that most other people do. She doesn't have to really aim. She just has to look in a general direction. Like, it's not difficult to hit the Ofuda, really. You may notice in the B-roll that I probably was struggling a little bit, but that's because I'm bad at aiming. So, don't have a go at me too much. But either way, very good healing. Maybe some would even argue maybe a little too much, but admittedly, this is her only healing source. Well, kinda. Technically, sorta. Either way, we'll get to it when we get to it. Next part of her primary weapons is the kunai. I really wish I could show you... Yeah, it does. It does say that. This does 60 damage. It is a, you know, projectile, very akin to Genji's shurikens. Funny enough, Genji was originally meant to use kunais before they changed it to shurikens. And before... okay, I'm sure most of you know that Hanzo and Genji were merged into one character at one point, and it was just called Hanzo, so it was a cyborg ninja with a sword and a bow. And when they split them into two, Genji was originally meant to use kunais. At some point, they must have changed it to shurikens, of course, as he is now, has shurikens. But yeah, she has kunais. They are, you know, a projectile, so they have travel time. And the travel time is relatively quick, all things considered. I believe they don't have, like, fall off. So they have no damage fall off, but I mean, like, the projectile doesn't travel downwards. Like, if I threw it at this direction, it just continues in the straight line until it hits something. And it does 60 damage per hit, which is quite high, all things considered. But where the issues come into play is the fact that it does double damage on headshot, which is 120. Do you see the problem? Do you see the... You know, let's spawn in the fat man. Let's spawn in my favorite target. Roadhog. Roadhog, right? Big boy. He's got... Is it 800 health, I believe? This is a lot of damage for a support. Like, I'm gonna be actually... Kiriko has better DPS than most of the DPSs. If you're hitting your headshots, like, she does better damage than the characters in the role where the only thing they're meant to do is damage. And she gets 130 healing on top of it. Like, with the Ofuda. So, like, she can heal people, and whenever she's not healing people, she can just... okay. I know many people have said that she has a favorite treatment, right? And I do believe that, especially when it comes to her kit. Cosmetics are a whole nother topic and issue, and I'll discuss it, of course. But her kit is very, 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 very damn strong. She was easily the second best, if not the best support in the game on release. The only other character really competing with her was Anna. But even then, she was, by all accounts, a counter to Anna. But I just think it's insane that she has 130 healing per volley, which is very good. And there's a 1 second gap between healing. That's not much. There's nothing really. And the kunais, 60 damage on body is, that's not crazy, right? For example, Anna does 75 damage on a body shot. That's more than Kiriko, right? But the issue is Kiriko can, crit. And it does 120. She does 120 on crit. 120 is a lot. Like, we go to any of the DPSs. Most of the DPSs sit at like the 250, 275 range, outside of some select cases such as Mei and Bastion, who sit at about 300, or in Bastion's case, 350. But it's crazy that someone like Ashe, a DPS, someone who's meant to do damage and kill supports and the such, can basically get two-tapped by support. And the thing is, Kiriko's movement is quite good because of the wall climb, and it's kind of insane that she can just free-shot people or two-shot people if she's close enough that she can just melee them. Like, she is also a very small target, mind you. Kiriko is a very skinny target, mostly due to her build. Like, if I just obviously spawn in the bot for Kiriko, she is quite skinny. Like, she has a small hitbox compared to most of the cast, even compared to, say, other supports. Like, if I pull up Brig's build is relatively bigger than most of other supports, admittedly, but still, her hitbox is bigger. If we pull up another female character, such as Moira, her hitbox is also bigger than Kiriko's, but Kiriko is allowed to do very high burst healing through the Ofuda and very good damage through the kunais. So, just on a base level, as her base weapons, ignoring the rest of her kit, she's very, very strong. Maybe a little too strong. She's been a problem ever since she came out, especially for the damage part. And you can really see what I mentioned earlier, how they wanted to design a character, like a healer, that DPS players would be interested in. And how do you do that? Oh, you give the support DPS that outperforms most of the DPSs. Like, she does better damage than Genji sometimes. It's like, obviously good Genjis are always going to be able to outplay a good Kiriko, but like, I still think it's insane that she can 3-shot most people, like, or in some cases 2-shot people. Like, for example, if you are against, a fellow Kiriko, someone who has 225 health, it's a 2-shot. A 2-shot. That's really, really absurd. In my opinion, of course. I feel like that's most of people's opinion. If you go look at most competitive Overwatch YouTubers, they usually do say, like, Kiriko is a problem. If it's not for her damage and for her very good healing, it's for the elephant. It's this thing. We're going to discuss this thing before we talk about this, because I have a lot of problems with it. You throw a protective charm to make allies become briefly invulnerable and cleanse them of most negative effects. It does 80 healing over time and does 30 healing on cleanse. The effect duration, so the invulnerability, is 0.65 seconds, and the effect's radius is 5 meters. This is a very broken ability. It is absurdly broken, even. This is one of the strongest abilities in the game, only rivaled by Anna's Biotic Grenade, which of course can amplify the healing that is received by allies and remove the ability to be healed by enemies, or for enemies. This thing counters that. This ability is a direct counter to Anna. They are aware that Anna is easily, and always will be, one of the best supports in the entire game, mostly due to the fact that she has anti, right? But I think the counter may have actually been worse than the initial problem. So this ability can cleanse, which is a unique kind of, well, per its name, you remove status effects. I know it says most status effects, that is quite vague. If I remember rightly, the only reason it says most is because you can't cleanse, say, for example, Reinhardt's Shatter. You could, when it came out, this could cleanse everything. So if your team got shattered by Reinhardt, so, Earth Shatter, knocks everyone down, stuns them on the floor. If you threw the Suzu at your team, you could get them all back up immediately. They wouldn't have to be laying on the ground. And I swear it took them like a whole ass season to even get rid of that interaction, to make it so that she couldn't cleanse it. But either way, you can cleanse. Let's pull up the hero roster, right? Let's pull up what can be cleansed and what cannot be cleansed. Bear in mind, before we even talk about cleanse, it makes you invulnerable. You are invulnerable when under the effects. Admittedly, it's only 0.65 seconds, so you do have to time things very well. If you're, say for example, D.Va goes to nuke, right? You can use the cleanse to survive the nuke, because you will be invulnerable, but you do have to time it very well, because it is, of course, a 0.65 second duration. That's very small. That's a very small window to get it, but you can still do that. You can still live these very overpowered insta-kill ultimates. Like, say, Doomfist jumps into the sky and goes to slam down on you. You can time it right and avoid his ultimate completely by using Suzu. But just going over the list, if I remember rightly, Hazard's ultimate cannot be cleansed, which is good, thank God. Junker Queen's ultimate and her wounds can be completely cleansed. She applies anti on her ult, which, I'm not kidding, Junker Queen's ultimate lives and breathes off of the fact that it applies anti, as well as, wounds to the entire enemy team. Kiriko can completely counter it with one Suzu. So, by the way, an ultimate ability, something that you have to spend most of the game building towards, and she can get rid of it with an ability that is on a 14-second cooldown. 14 seconds. Reminder, Baptiste, someone that makes people immortal in a field that can be actively destroyed and prevented, is on a 25-second cooldown. That's really bad. That's 11 seconds more than a ability that cleanses every debuff in the game outside of a few ultimates, makes you invulnerable, gives you a burst of healing. Mauna, any of his fire effects from his minigun can be cleansed. Ramatra, his slowing field can be cleansed because it's a negative status effect. Reinhardt, of course, as I mentioned, Earth Shatter cannot be countered. Sigma's ultimate, I believe, cannot be countered. You can't counter the you can't cleanse the rock stun. Admittedly, the stun is only like, it's like 1 second, so there's no point in even cleansing it. Winston doesn't have any debuffs. Wrecking Ball doesn't really have any debuffs. I don't think, if someone can correct me, I don't think you can Suzu out of Graviton, if I remember rightly. Don't think that's how that works. Dynamite can be cleansed. Stun can be cleansed. Echo's bombs, I think can be dropped off of a player if they are hit by, Suzu. Freya's explosive bolts can be cleansed and taken off of the person. Same with her ultimate, if I remember rightly. Genji doesn't have anything. Hanzo does not have anything. Junkrat doesn't. Mei's slows can be cleansed. Mei's entire ult can be completely cancelled out by Suzu because it cleanses the freeze as well as cleanses the slow that you're hit by and makes you invulnerable, meaning you can't be hit by the slows on the way out. Pharah does not have anything. Reaper does not. Sojourn doesn't. Sojourn, both don't. Sombra's hack can be cleansed. So, assuming it's not EMP and you don't get hacked, you can also actually cleanse her EMP, which is kind of absurd. Symmetra does not have anything. I lie. I think her turret's too slow. So the slows from turrets can be cleansed. Tourbillon's ultimate can become completely pointless if hit by Kiriko's cleanse, because, of course, it applies fire damage over time, so you can get people out of that. If I remember rightly, Tracer's Pulse Bomb can be cleansed off of a person, which is absurd to me. Venture does not have anything. Widow has her Poison Mine, which can be cleansed, and it has the Biotic Grenade, which, of course, is the most obvious example of them trying to get rid of something. So, of course, Anti-Heal is very strong. Pardon me. Anti-Heal is very strong. Very, very strong. But it can be cleansed. And more importantly, the both of them are on a 14-second cooldown. So if you are, waiting to use your Suzus to cleanse the Biotic Grenade, you will always have the Suzu ready to cleanse it. Which I think is very nasty, very absurd. I personally believe that Kiriko's cleanse, just before I continue even further with who can be cleansed and who can't be, I think this should be bumped up to 20 seconds. This does too much for an ability that's on a 14-second cooldown. Bap does not have anything that will cleanse, does not have anything that can be cleansed, at least not... her stun from her ult shield bash can be, but that's like half a second. Ilari's entire ultimate, the Captive Sun debuff that causes people to explode, can be cleansed. And I have now just realized that Captive Sun has a higher ult cost than Juno's. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, Juno has Ilari has the highest ult cost in the entire game. Wow, I didn't know that. Lifeweaver has nothing that can be cleansed. Lucio doesn't. Mercy does not. Moira does not. Wu Yang does not. And Zenyatta's Discord can be cleansed off people. So there's a lot. There's a lot that can be cleansed. And it's very overpowered. And notice that some of the characters that I listed who can be cleansed are some of the stronger ones in the game. Anna is the biggest example. Anna, of course, is the most consistent, like, you know, support in the game. She's always been good, even since release, because of anti and the such. So the fact that Kiriko could just cleanse it, on top of doing more healing than her in most cases, and doing better damage than her in most cases, is just absurd. It's just really, really absurd. Suzu is a really absurd ability. This thing it's needed a nerf for 2 years, but they refuse to touch the thing. I don't know why this thing is still on a 14-second cooldown. By the way, I've just gone over everything that can be cleansed, but let us not ignore the fact that, of course, it provides invulnerability for 0.65 seconds, which again, as I mentioned, can be used to counter these big one-shot hits. And I think it's really damn dumb. I cannot believe that there are people out there that say that Kiriko is not strong enough. You are lying. You are a liar. I am not usually someone who gets angry with, you know, people and their opinions competitively, but if you try to sit in front of me and say that Kiriko is not at least top 3 supports all the damn time, we are lying. We are just straight up lying. I saw people upset that one of her major perks got removed. I think it was the one that allowed her to swift step twice, and they were like, oh, no, she doesn't have any good major perk. Who cares? She's got one of the best kits in the game. She's got one of the best kits in the game, just full stop. And speaking of swift step, this thing's dumb. I hate this thing. I really, really hate it. You teleport directly to an ally. You look at an ally, by the way, through walls, within 35 meters, you press shift, and you immediately teleport to their side. This is a get out of jail free card. This is what this is. This is, by the way, mind you, a get out of jail free card on a 7-second cooldown. Get out of jail, it cleanses, so if you're affected with, you know, anti, you can swift step to someone and get rid of that anti or any other negative status effect, right? But you are invulnerable when casting it, and when you, for a brief time, when you're actually at the person, and it goes through walls. You can just... I didn't mean to do that. That was a fat finger presser cue. Either way, you can just teleport to people. This is insane movement. Oh no, I'm being chased by Genji. Oh, look, an ally. Immediately get out of jail free card. Oh, it's ready in 6 seconds. What? What? What do you mean this thing is ready in 6 seconds? Huh? This is a stupid ability. This is really dumb. This is a get out of jail free card. I don't say this often, but this is a get out of jail free card. Most other characters who have abilities that help them survive usually require them to play around them. So for example, Lucio, he has a way to get people off of him through his, you know, his boop. Where even is that? Soundwave. It's on a 4-second cooldown, but it's not a free get out of jail free card. Like, you push the enemy back, but that doesn't prevent them from still, you know, getting on top of you. But say Genji jumps you, and there's an ally. Like, that's the thing. The only requirement that this ability has is an ally. That's it. That's all it is. And usually, most people would focus on support first, because once you get rid of the support, it makes it easier to kill the rest of the team. But if this support in question is, oh no, Genji, yeah, he's diving. What is Genji meant to do in that scenario? How is he meant to play around that? How is he meant to play around a single press of a button that makes Kiriko invulnerable to all forms of damage, very briefly, mind you, but immediately, like the second she goes invulnerable, like the second those hands come together, you just lose her. She gets to go back to her team, where she can receive healing from, you know, the other healer, or be protected by the tank, or be protected by the DPS. This is a get out of jail free card. I hate this ability. I really, really hate this. I hate this more than Suzu. I understand why Suzu exists, at least. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so that negative status effects, you know, something that Anna was ruling the game with, isn't as prominent anymore. They provided a counter to Anna. But this is dumb. This is a free get out of jail free card. I hate it. I really, really hate it. Every other support in some way, shape, or form has to struggle. Like Mercy, for example. She has to fly to an ally. Like, she's actually a really good example, right? Mercy has to have an ally nearby to make use of her movement, as does Kiriko. However, Mercy has to be in line of sight, and more importantly, she has to fly to the person, so she can still be shot during the flight. She is not invulnerable while flying. But Kiriko can go to people through walls at I'm curious actually, is it at a longer distance? No, it is! It is! Guardian Angel is 30 meters at base, whereas Kiriko's thing is 35. What? Oh my god. I hate this. I hate this character. I hate her. I really do. This is the one character in this game that I actually hate. This is dumb. Mercy has to be in line of sight with a person and fly to them. She can still be damaged during this period. Admittedly, she can be quite hard to hit, but it's not like she's unhittable. Kiriko can just look at a person for a wall, teleport to them. She's invulnerable when she casts it. She is immediately at that person, and there is nothing to worry about ever again. Why? This is a perfect comparison, really. This is an Overwatch 1 character, Overwatch 1 release. This is an Overwatch 2 character, Overwatch 2 release. There's a power creep. There isn't actually a power creep between the two of them. It's actually absurd. I hate Swift Step. This is the worst ability in the game. I really do struggle. Like, I'm gonna do a scan of the roster. Who got an ability worse than this? Let's be completely honest right now. Let's be so for real. Who has an ability that is worse to go against than this? Anti, maybe? Anti is the only one I can really think of. Anything that makes me feel worse? No, nothing makes me feel worse than seeing a Kiriko Swift Step get out of jail free right in front of me. I hate it. I really do. I really hate it. And you know what? My hatred doesn't end. Can you believe this? My hatred doesn't end. Let's talk about our ultimate. You see this? See this wall of text? By the way, 2,500. 2,500 cool, alt cost, right? She does some of the best healing in the game. She's got very good burst healing. She does very good damage, as I've already shown. And let's go to Juno. Juno, right? Juno, that's someone that does okay damage, okay healing, has, decent movement abilities. 2,900. Guruirari, someone who has pretty good burst healing as well. Decent overtime healing with a pylon. Decent damage as well. Kind of similar, right? But still weaker. Like, notice that she has lesser critical, while Kiriko has normal critical. Her ult's on 2,975. By the way, Kiriko can cleanse everything on this list outside of the direct hit damage. So, what does this ult do, you may ask? You summon a Fox Spirit that rushes forward and accelerates the movement speed, the attack speed, and the cooldown of all allies in the path. So in this area of effect, you get bonus 30% movement speed, bonus 50% attack speed, your cooldowns recharge twice as fast, you get a bonus reload speed by 50%, it lasts for 8 seconds, lingers for 1 second when you come out of its distance, and it has a max range of 32 meters lengthwise and 10 meters widthwise. This is absurd. There is nothing you can do against this ability. It ignores barriers, it does all of this shit on a cooldown that is less than ultimates such as Juno's, which is just a beam that heals people and does damage amp. She does everything with this ultimate, because remember, by her getting bonus attack speed, she's now able to throw out kunais quicker, meaning she can do more damage. She's able to throw out the healing of Fudas quicker, meaning she can do even more healing. Her cooldowns, which are already quite short considering how strong they are now even shorter. Swift Step will now drop down to, 3.5 seconds. Suzu will drop down to 7 seconds. 7 seconds. And anyone within it will have their cooldowns dropped. So someone like Anna is now able to throw out biotic grenades every 7 seconds. She's able to put people to sleep every 7 seconds. I know it only lasts 8 seconds. I know if you were to use all of your abilities and then pop your ult, you would only get to use them, 2 extra times. But think about what abilities we're using 2 extra times. This is ignoring any of the synergy with anyone else in the game. This is ignoring the synergy with someone like Ramatra, who can go Nemesis form and punch the shit out of people really quickly. Ignoring synergy with Ryan, who can do the same thing, because now he's able to swing his hammer really fast, and he gets the bonus attack speed, so he's swinging it even faster, and he gets the bonus move speed, so he's even quicker, so you can't run away from him. Anyone? Ultimate, Reaper, ultimate, attack speed, so he's shooting quicker during Death Blossom, and he's moving quicker during Death Blossom. Genji, swing sword fast, shing, shing, shing. I don't like this ultimate. This is so strong, and it's on one of the shorter cooldowns in the game. Who has a shorter cost, right? Transcendence by 25 points. Bap, what's your cost? Huh? Actually, a higher cost by 25. Brig, what's your cost? Oh, It increased cost by 200. Hey, Lucio, what's your cost? Just an extra 400. Lifeweaver, what's your cost? Actually, the smallest. His is less by 300. That's a fair trade. Moira, what's your cost? Oh, yeah, just higher by 400. It's not like Kiriko struggles to get her ultimate by, mind you. Supports get their ultimates by damage and healing. Someone like Moira has 2,900 because all of her abilities do damage or healing. Kiriko does insane damage with her kunais and headshots, and does insane healing with her Afuda, and she also gets ult charge, if I remember rightly, for cleansing status effects, because it obviously does the healing and the extra heal on the cleanse. I don't like this character. I really, really don't. When she came out, I liked her a lot because she was really overpowered, and I was like, wow, this really reminds me of Overwatch 1. And then because the thing is, at the time, I played Overwatch 1 very on and off. I would come in for a new character or a new event, play for a bit, maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then drop off and not really play it. Because I just didn't really have much interest in the game outside of that. I had other stuff that I wanted to play, blah, blah, blah. But now I play Overwatch 2 quite a lot. I play it damn near every day. I know that's a really scary idea for most of you, but I play this thing every day, and now I kind of care a little bit about the competitive side of things. And I do play comp sometimes. I play Stadium quite a bit, and Kiriko is also in Stadium. I won't discuss that kit because it's even more horrific, but either way. She has one of the most broken kits in the entire game. At base, her ultimate is absurd for what it does. I hate this thing. I actually really do hate it. And only now do I realize I haven't actually showed it. Press Q, comes outwards, keeps going until it stops or either hits the surface. And in it, you know, you just throw shit quicker, you heal people quicker, you just do everything quicker. Cooldowns are just quicker. I hate it. I really hate it. Like, if I pop it again, look how quickly my Suzu is coming back up. I just can't stand it. I really, really can't stand it. She does really good healing anyways, and now the Suzu, I don't like it. And the thing is, it's just all of this. I haven't even talked about her perks. I know I said her perks aren't very good, and honestly they aren't. I think this is the trade-off. She has such a broken base kit that her perks are just not good. Like, kunai hit launches 2 healing Afuda to an ally in front of you. That's whatever. That's 26 healing per kunai. That's not worth it. That's not really strong. And the other one is healing Afuda projectile speed is increased by 50% when seeking allies below half health. That's pretty solid. Allows your healing to get to people quicker. Allows you to heal people quicker. It's a point of reference. That's far much quicker. Far much quicker? Yeah, that makes sense. And then you have, of course, her... mages. Swift Step grants 40% increased attack and reload speed for 3 seconds. That's kind of okay. It obviously increases how fast she can shoot out her healing and how much she can throw out kunais, which improves her healing and damage output. You do have to Swift Step for it though. The thing is, it's up for 3 seconds, and Swift Step's cooldown, as I've made quite clear, is 7 seconds. So it's up for basically half the duration, which is kind of absurd. And the other one makes it so that Suzu grants allies 100% increased cooldown recovery and 30% increased movement speed for 2 seconds. As if Suzu didn't already do enough. So for example, if I hit myself with Suzu, not only is my cooldown increased, so now the cooldown for Suzu, if you hit yourself with it, is only really 10 seconds. You also get bonus move speed, and this can obviously be thrown at any of your allies, which is really absurd. As if this is stupid. This is so dumb. It's so dumb. This is a dumb perk. It's so stupid. The cooldown recovery is really good on some characters. Like now you can just make someone like Anna throw out biotic grenades even quicker. Anyone with an overpowered ability, one that's like really absurd and kind of a nuisance, it can just be applied more often. You can reduce the cooldown of like Bap's Immortality Field. You can reduce the cooldown of Mei's Ice Block, which helps her out quite a lot. You can reduce the cooldown of Genji's Deflect, making it so he can dive people more often. Same goes for Swift Strike. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. Suzu is a dumb ability, and they gave it a perk that made it even more dumb. So now, on top of cleansing, making people invulnerable, giving people a burst of healing, it's now giving them increased cooldown recovery and movement speed. It's just like, god damn. How much can we fit into one ability? I'm sorry, that one ability does more than most ultimates. Go to Lucio. What does his ult do? Oh, provides everyone extra health temporarily. You just heard me list off what Kiriko Suzu can do, and that's on a 14-second cooldown. Or if you hit yourself with this perk up, it's only on a 10-second cooldown. Woohoo! I feel like I'm going insane. I hate this character. I hate this kit. This kit is absurd. It's disgusting. It's really, really disgusting. I hate her. I really, really do. Because it's so frustrating to go against. Like, at least with, like, Anna's been around since 2016. I've been dealing with Anna for all of these years. When you get slept, it's annoying. You just kind of have to deal with it. But there's a way to play around sleep. You can have your teammates be with you. If your teammates are with you and you get slept, they can help you. They can protect you. There are ways around it. If you get antied, there are ways around it. You can hide. You can, you know, pull away from the fight, pull back to your team, etc., etc. Kiriko just feels unbelievable. Like, again, even continuing with the Anna comparison, nano boost. When you see someone that's nanoed, you really want to run away. You want to play defensively. You kind of want to just pull back, hold off on a minute for attacking, and just let them do their thing and get out of their system. Kiriko just doesn't let you breathe. She does insane damage if you try to jump her. She does really good healing. Oh, I tried to jump her. She's on low health. Bang. Immediately out of it. Oh, she jumped her on low health. Oh, bang. Protection. She's invulnerable now. And she got healed back to full health, basically. And now she's throwing kunais at you and she's two-shotted you. Sorry. Oh, she's going to do a push. Now the entire team is just buffed to giga hell. And that's ignoring the fact that, by the way, this perk, the Suzu one, can stack on top of Kitsune Rush. So you can give allies, briefly, 200% increased cooldown recovery and 60% move speed bonus. Why? I don't get it. It just feels unfun. It's not fun to play around. There's nothing to have fun playing around. Like when you get antied by, you know, Anna, it's kind of frustrating. Like, oh, damn. Whatever shall I do? But Kiriko, it just feels frustrating. Like, oh, I'm gonna die of Kiriko. No, sorry, she two-shotted you. Oh, no, sorry, she teleported away. No, sorry, she like, she has 2 get out of jail free cards for herself, and not ignoring that these abilities are really strong for her allies. I hate this character. I don't know if that's clear. I really hate this character. She has become a thorn in my side, and I despise seeing her on enemy teams. I cannot stand her. I am so tired of her, and this anger is going to continue. I'm going to bring this anger into the next section, which is where I talk about her design and her cosmetics. Now, despite my ominous, angry ending quote in the last sequence, I actually don't really mind Kiriko's base design, all things considered. It very clearly has gone for a merger between a Shrine Maiden as well as a streetwear, which, you know what, that's a cool design for a character. That's a interesting look for a character, and I don't really mind how she looks. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't have too much to say on it, but I think this is a cool idea for a character, and I think they execute it relatively well. You have the kind of a Shrine Maiden's, would you call them coattails? There's probably a more specific word. I'm not particularly educated, of course, on Japanese Shrine Maiden outfits, but you kind of have like sort of a miniature version of the coattails. You have the kind of wool t-shirt. She obviously has the healing Ofuda, which is, you know, very akin to kind of paper slips that, you know, Shrine Maidens usually have, at least from my knowledge, experience, kinda. And you can also see the streetwear influence with, like, you know, like mostly from the lower half. Her upper half doesn't really have much streetwear influence. It's mostly lower half with like the leggings beneath the Shrine Maiden thing, and the shoes as well kind of have a streetwear look to them. But even then, the actual Shrine Maiden part still have streetwear influences with like the little glowy lights on it and the patterns on it. Like, it's a fine enough design. I've always kind of felt like it was lacking. I'm gonna be honest. I actually kind of wish they went more in on the Shrine Maiden part. I know she is like 90% Shrine Maiden, but like, I know some of her, we saw like concept art for her a while ago. I don't like the one with the giant shuriken fidget spinner looking thing. I don't like that one. But I kind of wish she had like, you know, okay. I'm going to say this now. I'm going to use this skin as an example. Kiriko is like 90% leg. I'm sorry, she's really damn skinny. Like she is like 90% legs. I've always thought her build was certainly a choice. She's very, very skinny, and she is like 90% leg. And I do think she would actually benefit from not like, you know, leggings and stuff like that. I think, as we saw from some of her concept art, they originally wanted to use like the Shrine Maiden dress as her lower half. Now take that Shrine Maiden dress lower half and turn it into a pair of trousers. I think that would have worked. I think her having more like baggy trousers, or like Shrine Maiden trousers, or maybe like sweatpants or something, would have looked better on her outfit. I don't really like the leggings that they kind of consistently give her. I think baggier trousers would have made the design kind of work better. And I kind of don't like her haircut, I'm going to be honest. I think the very high up ponytail that kind of curls up at the top doesn't really look particularly great. I don't know if it's just me. I kind of wish the ponytail was like maybe further down or maybe longer, or maybe she just had just straight up short hair. I feel like the short hair would have been neater looking. And I do think her hair color clashes not the greatest with the rest of her design. I do think if she had like maybe, simple brown hair, black hair, I think that would have been, better in a sense. I don't know. I kind of wish she didn't have the green hair. I know it makes her stand out, right? But I don't think we should just be jumping to colored hair to make a character stand out, because it's a boring way of making someone stand out. The colored hair should be, like the finishing touch. It shouldn't just be something you throw on to, make someone stand out. At least in my opinion. At least in Kiriko's situation, it isn't, she wasn't born with green hair. Looking at you, Juno. Yeah, if you didn't know, Juno was born with purple hair, which is scientifically impossible. Genetically impossible, mind you. We know that Kiriko was actually born with black hair, but of course at some point must have dyed it green. It's certainly a choice. Certainly a choice. I just don't think it particularly works with the rest of her outfit. Maybe if the hair was like white, maybe that could have worked. If people don't want the basic black, white hair is quite standout, but then again, that would have made it so that 2 out of the 3 characters that Overwatch 2 came out with would have had, well, white hair. So, I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I don't know why they picked green hair, but either way. I think her design's fine. I just kind of wish they either leaned one more into one or the other, or kind of merged them better in a way. Like, if they wanted to do Streetwear Shrine Maiden, they could have merged them a bit better outside of just had, like, wearing leggings and having big shoes. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. And now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Well, I mean, there's been many elephants in the room, but let's talk about the really, 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 really big elephant in the room. I mentioned earlier that she's kind of a golden goose. Her favoritism is quite clear, and that comes from skin distribution. Look how many there are. I complained a lot in Juno's video how she has a lot of skins, and how in the short time that Juno has been out, so just as a point of reference, right? Venture's been out since Season 10, Hazard has been out since Season 14, and Juno came out in Season 12. Venture has 3 legendaries. Point of proof, 1, 2, 3. Hazard has 2, 1, 2. And Juno has 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She is double what Hazard and Venture have combined when Venture came out before and Hazard came out 2 seasons after. I think that's absurd. Kiriko is even worse. Kiriko is even worse. You can notice that I do have a lot of the skins, I will admit. I am part of her problem. As I mentioned, I was quite fond of Kiriko when she first came out, because I didn't really care too much about the lore, and she felt really overpowered, and that was kind of fun to play as, because I didn't take the game too seriously. So when the witch skin came out, I actually really liked the skin. I thought it looked really pretty. I like the witches. I'm kind of a sucker for witches, right? So I bought it. Little did I know that my purchase would lead to her getting a mountain, a literal mountain of skins. She gets double the skins that 90% of the other characters get in single seasons. I think she's disgusting. It's disgusting. Her greed sickens me. It really does. This is the greed they talk about in the Bible. Like, when she came out, she had the 2 basic legendaries. Admittedly, back in the day, we used to have 4 legendaries per character, but still, she got a skin in the battle pass immediately with this is not a good skin, I will admit, but she's got one immediately. And then she got the witch skin in the first season as well. And she also got one of the first ever collab skins. So that's 3 post-release legendaries in the first season, and it was a sign of things to come, because she just proceeded to get more and more and more and more and more. She got her own mythic in Season 3. I do not like this mythic all too much. I think it's kind of it doesn't really do much for me. Can't pinpoint why I don't like it. I just don't. But she just proceeded to get more and more and more and more and more. And now we're getting to the point where we're at a point in time where she's getting 2, 3 skins a season. Just as a point of reference, of course, this season, she got the vampire skin. Why do I own it? I bought the ultimate bundle because I wanted the Ramatra skin, because I'm Ramatra's biggest glazer. So I got this skin as a result of that. I didn't want it. If I could have opted out of buying it, I would have. But just this season, she got the vampire skin, and she also got the Inari skin. 2 fully fledged original legendaries, with this one especially being quite unique in that she has, fox ears that move around. This is an added piece of, detail that most other legendary skins don't get outside of, collab skins. But even then, collab skins don't even get this sort of treatment. Speaking of collab skins, she has 1, 2, and where's the third one? Third. Maybe more, actually. Yeah, 4 skins. Yeah, 4. Any more? No, just 4. 4 collab skins, 4 legendary collab skins. It's quite a lot. Most characters don't even have 1. I think the only other character that kind of rivals her in collab skin outage is Reinhardt, I think. Reinhardt gets put in a lot of these collabs, and I'm not particularly sure why. He doesn't usually fit most of the time. I thought he fit Optimus Prime. I think that was a slam dunk, really. But besides that, I don't really know if he fit most of the ones that he was in. But either way, she has 4, collab legendary skins, and she gets like 2 skins a season. I discussed this in Juno's video, and I just think that we should start limiting these characters to 1 skin a season. I'm really being serious. If they want to do more than 1 skin, make it a recolor. Like, look at last season, right? She got the how do you even say that? Hydrangea? The wedding day skin, right? She got this last season, and she also, I believe, got streetwear last season, which is in a battle pass. So these are 2 fully fledged legendary skins she's getting, right? But she also, on top of that, got a recolor. Take away one of the legendary skins she got, so streetwear, for example, or get rid of the wedding day skins and give it to someone else. Like, if you're still releasing the recolor, right? She's still getting 2 skins. That's more than enough. Like, even like last season or the season before last, she got this skin, and she also got wait, was this season 17? I think. I don't know. She just has so many skins, I forget when they even came out. They all just kind of merge into one. They all just are homogenizing to me, where they're all just coming out. Like, most of these skins here I have are from either loot boxes, or in the rare occasion that I bought them, I didn't want them. Like, which I bought way back when Overwatch 1 came out. I had no idea this was going to end up like this. So I got this skin because I liked it, and I wanted the skin for Kiriko because I was playing her a bunch. That's fair a shout. I had no idea. I wasn't responsible for my purchases, blah, blah, blah. This was from a loot box. This was from a loot box. This from Battle Pass. This is from Battle Pass. Oh, no, I got this from... I used my legacy credits for this. This from Battle Pass. I bought the Jury Kiriko skin because I'm a huge Street Fighter fan, and I bought the entire bundle, so she just kind of came with it. And admittedly, I don't like that Jury went to Kiriko because, well, I don't really think she fits Jury, really, at all, honestly. And per what some people have said, oh, Juno kicks with her melee. Why did she got Chun-Li? That's why. Okay, why did Kiriko go to Jury? I'm kind of lost. I personally, if you wanted my choice, it was either Kiriko or Sombra. I would have preferred Sombra, personally, but besides the point. Battle Pass, and as I mentioned earlier, this came from the 35 quid Ultimate Bundle, which I only bought because Ramacha was in it. So, I am part of the problem, because of course I have bought, Jury's skin, and I have technically bought the Vampire skin, but still, when I can, I try to avoid getting Kiriko skins. I really, really do, because I'm sick and tired of seeing her getting so many skins. She has more skins than most of the Overwatch 1 characters. Like, I don't even want to count how many there are. Like, if I filter this by legendary, right? Like, you see how many there are. I can't even... It's like 20, probably. More than that. 25, potentially. Like, 25 legendaries, right? So if we go to someone like Baptiste, right? Brother's got... Okay, no, I can check. How many she got? 28. So since her release in Overwatch 2, 2 years ago, because the anniversary was last season, so in 2 years, she's gotten 28 legendaries across her entire lifespan. Go to Diva, 32, right? Doomfist, 20. Hazard, or 2. Why am I even looking at Hazard? Just let's compare her to her contemporaries, the 2 other characters that she released with, those being Junker Queen and Sojourn. Junker Queen has received 11 legendary skins. Sojourn has received 13. Kiriko has received 28. That is more than both of them combined. Baptiste has received 14. Anna, 22. She's got more than Anna. Genji, 33. Genji's very popular, right? Let's go to someone like Mercy. Whoa, 44? Okay, I'm gonna go over that in her video. 44! Okay, 20. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is that in 2 years, she's received like 28 skins, whereas characters like Ash, someone who's also been around since Overwatch 1, 25. Someone like Junkrat, 16. Someone like May, 23. Like, do you see the issue I'm trying to bring up? In 2 years, she's received more legendaries than most of the Overwatch 1 characters. And multiple times, she's received multiple legendaries in the same seasons. I think it's absurd. I'm actually really, really pissed off. And the thing is, she gets special treatment. Like, outside of, receiving all of these skins, when I say she receives special treatment, say for example, let's jump to the vampire skin. Suzu. Suzu is detailed and recolored and has a different design, right? You don't see Suzu. You can't see it. In normal gameplay, you could never ever see Suzu because it is just this blue blob of a projectile that goes flying out. It's not even in any highlight intros. Like, it's in none of her highlight intros outside of maybe like the effect. Like if I go to clean sweep, it has the effect of Suzu. But you don't actually see the ball, right? You don't ever actually see the ball in any of them. So why does Suzu get a detailed look? Admittedly, sometimes they cheap out and just like slap a thingy on it, but like, look at Blade Master, right? It becomes like this kind of hand grenade look. So that Suzu gets a look, right? You can't actually see it in gameplay at all. It's not even on her persons. Like the Suzu isn't sitting there on the hip or anything. But there's someone like Baptiste, who you always see the lamp. Like his immortality field, you can see it. It's an actual physical object. It's there in the environment. It's in multiple of his like highlight intros. Like as you can see, it's right there. Or it's in Discus. It's in the Discus highlight intro as well. Outside of it getting different colors, it never gets a unique model. The only thing that they ever did with immortality is in the Funky skin. They made the area that you stand in a disco floor. It adds like the disco ball effect beneath it. So why does Kiriko get special treatment in having her Suzus changed and designed when you can't actually even see it in any way, shape, or form? Like, if we go to the Rainy Day skin, wow, look at that unique design. Wow, it looks so pretty. You never see it. Go to Jury. Admittedly, Jury's one's kind of funny to me because it is actually just the basic Suzu, but with like splash art on it. Go to Streetwear. Wow, look at that cool, unique design. You're never going to see it. Go to how do you say that? Yatagarasu? Oh, okay, that's also got the non-existent. Like, sometimes they put in the effort, but then sometimes they don't. Like, I don't know, what's her skin in the shop right now? Look how much actual effort and detail went into the design. You can't see it. Why? Why is this getting actual effort put into it? Like, someone pointed out that in first person, if you use this skin, Baiji, you actually see that her nails have like really intricate patterns on it. Like she has some really lovely looking nail art. But then someone like Moira, whose entire thing is that she has, like quite long nails. It's always been quite a key character trait of her. Her nails are almost always in like every skin just plain. They never get like unique patterns on it in any way, shape, or form. Like this is a skin based off of David Bowie, and the nails are just flat colors. But why does Kiriko get these really detailed, lovely looking nails when a character who has a key character trait of hers being these long, kind of stabby looking nails doesn't actually get unique nail art in any way, shape, or form? I just don't understand it. Why does she get all of these special treatments in every way, shape, or form? I know people say, oh, it's because she makes a lot of money. Yeah, I know. She makes a lot of money. And people say, oh, they give her a bunch of skins because she always makes money. But here's the thing. How are we going to know that these other characters don't make money if you never make skins for them? I'm sorry, Baptiste has only recently gotten like one of his other legendaries in Overwatch 2. Like his last shop legendary, new one, not a recolor or anything like that, was Bounty Hunter in Season 4. He got this skin this season. And let's check the numbers, right? Season 19. 15 seasons till he got a skin that Baptiste players could actually spend money on. And you know what? I played quite a handful of games, and almost every Baptiste I've played in or played alongside had this skin on. So they're buying the skin. They are making, money off of it. But the thing is, they can't help themselves. This season, Kiriko, vampire skin, bang, 35 quid. Bang, Inari skin in the bundle in the shop that's in here right now. And people have complained, oh, boo-hoo, Kiriko has the mercy tax, where her bundles are just inflated for no reason. Yeah, I'm a little annoyed that, these bundles are inflated for literally no reason. But I don't care. Because think about who it's happening to. Mercy. Someone who, as we just saw, has 44 legendaries. Kiriko. Someone who has gotten more legendaries than most of the Overwatch 1 cast. Some who have been in the game since the beginning. Bastion, to my knowledge, has less skins than Kiriko. 20 legendaries? He's been in the game since day one. Zarya, 20. been in the game since day one. Kiriko has 8 more than the both of them, and she's been in the game for 2 years. These two have almost been in the game for a decade. A decade! Like, next year, these two would be 10 years old. They would have been in the game for a decade, and she has more skins than them in 2 years. It's just absurd. It's really, really absurd. So when people complain, oh, the Kiriko tax, yeah, it's a bad business practice. Like, oh, you make your most popular character have the highest expensive bundle. For no reason, mind you. There was the One Punch Man Ash bundle had a highlight intro, an emote, and all of this other stuff, like the same amount of stuff as this bundle, but was 500 cheaper, right? But I don't care. Because it's happening to Kiriko and Mercy, characters who have more than enough skins. If this is their way of disincentivizing people from just buying 20 billion Kiriko skins, more power to them. If this practice, if people not buying these skins results in us getting skins for other characters who deserve them, Zarya needs a new legendary. I'm gonna be so for real. How many legendaries has she gotten since Overwatch 2 came out? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of them being recolors, mind you. And I think these two are Overwatch 2 skins technically, but again, recolors. I just don't get it. Why? It just frustrates me immensely. It frustrates me so much that, like, these two, Juno and Kiriko, have now become like these just cash cows who just pump out skins upon skins. I mean, this season I saw that she was getting the mythic weapon, and you know what? This may sound weird, but I actually cheered. Do you want to know why? Because now she can't get anything mythic related ever again. I'm happy. I'm happy she now has a mythic weapon, because then that means she's never going to be in the mythic shop ever again, because I'm sick and tired of seeing her. I said, as the video was titled, I liked her initially, but as time has gone on, and she's gotten more and more skins, more and more preferential treatment, she's avoided nerfs, she's avoided having like any form of accountability for how bad her story actually is written. Like, it's very plain, as I mentioned earlier, and it has a bunch of holes in it when it comes to her age and how she grew up with Hanzo and Genji, and how it feels very forced on that respect in that regard. It's just, I'm so bored. She has 11 highlight intros. Zarya has 4. Zarya received this highlight intro in 2019. The Archives event doesn't even exist anymore. Kiriko got another highlight intro this season. She got this. She said, stop making them. Stop making highlight intros for her. Okay, in her defense, at least it's not as bad as Mercy, someone who was 12 and could never actually get play of the game. Like, at least Kiriko can, because of her insane damage output. But I'm just so bored. I'm so sick and tired of her. I really am. I really, really, really don't like this character. I'm sure maybe some of you watch my Deadlock videos, and not once do I really get angry at characters. I don't really express hatred, because usually I'm quite indifferent to a lot of characters. I'm usually positive on most fronts. Like, even someone like Juno, who I am very frustrated with in terms of skin distribution, I still, enjoy her gameplay, even if she's shit right now. I still think her story has potential. But Kiriko's story has hit a brick wall, all things considered, because her story just kind of ends as it is now. Her story has holes in it, as I've mentioned, and her gameplay is incredibly overpowered and frustrating to go against, so I don't really enjoy that, and I don't really enjoy the fact that she gets quadruple the skins of characters that I like. And the thing is, I have a specific hatred for her because of the characters that I like. Someone like Venture, I really like. Someone like Hazard, I really like. Ramatra is my favorite character in the whole game. And to see characters who are infinitely more interesting and have infinitely more personality and uniqueness to them get overshadowed by someone who just needs their 30th skin, it frustrates me. This is Ramatra's first shop legendary that isn't a collab since Necromancer, which was season 4, 5? We're in season 19. I know he's gotten decent treatment when it comes to collabs. He's got 2 collab skins. That's pretty good. But I just, like, I don't get it. I just think I don't like Kiriko. I really don't. I really, really, really don't. So when a character that I really don't like and I'm infinitely frustrated with and I've just grown to hate more and more as time's gone on gets this much preferential treatment, I'm going to get really frustrated because I'm seeing my favorite characters, like Ramatra, get put to the wayside for someone that I just find boring, for someone that I really hate. I don't say that often. I hate Kiriko. I really do. And if you like her, fine, right? If you like her, fine. It's okay. I'm not gonna hate you because you hate Kiriko. You may enjoy her story. You may enjoy her gameplay. You may like the fact that she gets all of these skins. But whatever you do, you can't... I've seen too many Kiriko players run around and say that she doesn't get preferential treatment. And that she doesn't, you know... She isn't their golden goose. She isn't the golden child. And I really hate the defense that, oh, she just sells well. That's why she gets so many skins. Yeah, but if we never give these other characters a chance to sell well, how do we ever know that they're gonna get any skins? Hazard, man. Hazard's been given like no chance. Brother's got one legendary shop skin in the 5 seasons he's been out, and this isn't even that good. They just kind of butchered him. This is okay. This is a fine skin. The thing is, right, Hazard has a great base design. Well, okay, kinda. I'll obviously get more into it when I eventually get to his video. He's a good design to build off of, right? But they haven't really attempted to build off of it, so we'll never know. Like, I just don't get it. Both the characters, and another thing, right, that I feel like I should mention, and I feel like I should have mentioned this probably in the story segment, is that when Overwatch 2 came out, the 2 other characters that released alongside Kiriko, Soldier and Junker Queen, were pre-established. So Junker Queen, we had already known about her existence ever since we got the Junkertown map. We saw posters of her, we heard her voice over the intercom, we heard interactions between like Roadhog and... Where's Roadhog? Roadhog and Junkrat about her, and they had an entire cinematic together where they, you know, tried to shove the payload into Junkertown to blow up the throne and stuff. And Soldier was a character who we'd known about since Overwatch's beginning. We knew from that picture where she was there with like Emre and Soldier and Reaper, and so we've known about Soldier from the very beginning. And she was even in one of the Archives events, Storm Rising, being the kind of narrator, or not the narrator, like the on the comms, right? So we'd known about Soldier for ages. We know that she was like a prominent member in Overwatch. So these were 2 like highly anticipated characters who had a lot of history behind them. And then we just get Kiriko, someone that apparently had been best buddies with Genji and Hanzo in her youth, but that doesn't even make sense when you consider the ages. And a character that had a very broken kit, and someone who just kind of came out of thin air, all things considered. And she's kind of like the example of Overwatch trying to push, at least in Overwatch 2, they're trying to push like the idea of like the new age of heroes. That's why majority of the new characters we've gotten are very young. Juno, Kiriko, Illari, Wu Yang, they're all, you know, 20 or under. Juno's 19, Illari's 18, Wu Yang's 19, Kiriko's 21, Lifeweaver is, I think, late 20s to my knowledge. Like, Hazard as well is like mid-20s. A lot of these newer characters are younger. And I get the idea, but I'm sorry, the 2 other characters she released alongside were just infinitely more interesting because they actually had a build-up to them. If they had built up to Kiriko, I probably wouldn't have too much of a problem with her. Like, I don't know, say, maybe, just a hunch, or just an idea, maybe if in Overwatch 1, where Genji and Hanzo actually talked about, you know, having like a younger person in their lives, or maybe they reference her by name, or maybe they say, oh, whatever happened to the Fox girl, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe we could have all solved this by just letting her be old. Like, if you wanted to make her grow up with Hanzo and Genji, just make her 30. That would not have killed anyone. Because here's a fun fact, and I know this kind of maybe is a stereotype, but a lot of the time, Asian people just do not age. Like, most Asian people in their 30s just don't really look 30 at all. I think you probably could have gotten away with her. Maybe add maybe a couple wrinkles. Maybe make, I don't know. I just think if they wanted a character to be connected to Genji and Hanzo, that she should have been the same age as them. She should have been, you know, like maybe someone that kind of strayed away from the both of them when Genji and Hanzo fought. I don't know. She just confuses me. She's 21, but she apparently grew up with Genji and Hanzo, which makes no sense. Because during the picture that I showed, obviously, many a moons ago, they both looked like they were in their mid-teens. And, well, she would have been like 2. That doesn't make sense. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going off on a rant. I'm damn annoyed. This character frustrates me in every aspect, whether that be story, gameplay, cosmetics, distribution. She's like an example of everything that annoys me when it comes to Overwatch. Weird, unfinished stories that kind of go nowhere or have weird plot holes in them. Gameplay which is obscenely overpowered and doesn't really have much of a counter. Like, how do you counter Suzu? You can't, really. And the skin distribution, like, the thing is, some people may be asking, like, oh, why am I getting this uppity about skins? I'm sorry, there's no other content in the game. The skins are all the content we get week by week. Like, this week, right? What did we get? Any new content? No, it was just skins. This is all we ever get for content. Like, oh, the new season release, and obviously we get the patch notes and, you know, maybe a few characters added to Stadium. Like, initial releases, like season releases, we get new content. But as the season goes on, we don't get new content. Like, between now and mid-season, we're not going to get anything. So all we get are skins. This is the content. What we're looking at on the screen right now is content. So I'm allowed to get uppity and angry about distribution of skins when this is all they're going to give us between, you know, mid-season and the beginning of a season and a new season, right? I'm allowed to get angry. This is only content they ever give us. So, yeah, that's the reason I'm complaining about skins. Because, well, this is all we ever get between releases. Like, this is it. This is all I got to talk about. But yeah, Kiriko just frustrates me on every aspect. I did initially like her, and I mean, as proof of that, obviously, I bought her gold weapon. I was that into her that I did get it. And admittedly, that was quite a rarity at the time. I don't really get gold weapons for characters. The only other characters before her that I had gold weapons for were Genji and Brig. Brig I got because she was overpowered on release and I really enjoyed playing as her. Genji I got because he's always been my man. He's always been my favourite. Well, he's not my favourite now, but until, you know, Ramatra came out, he was my favourite. But I really enjoyed Kiriko when she came out. I got a gold weapon. I bought the witch skin, as I said. But as time has gone on, man, I regret these purchases. I regret buying witch. I regret buying the gold weapon for her. If I could have, I would have given my gold weapon to Lucio or something. Like, it's just frustrating. It's just really, really frustrating. Most people just kind of hated her from the outset, and I don't think that I was one of those people. I've just kind of, as time's gone on, just kind of disliked her more and more and more. And I mean, again, if you like her, by all means, do as you please. Just don't try to say to me that she doesn't get preferential treatment, because she really does. She really, really, really does. And it does frustrate me. And I would hope that people could emphasize or empathize with me being frustrated. Like, in Overwatch 1, a character that I did actually have quite a liking towards was Symmetra. She was a character that I didn't really pay too much mind to, but I don't know, I've kind of looked at her a lot now, and I realized back in Overwatch 1, I did actually kind of like her, I just kind of refused to admit it. I don't know. Something about Symmetra really clicks with me, and I do think the way they treated her in Overwatch 1 with like skin distribution and such was really, really bad. And it's just like, I like these characters who are more odd, quirky, different. Hazard, Venture, Ramatra, Symmetra, the characters that, you know, don't really get the preferential treatment. So you can understand why I would be frustrated with a character that does. Because I want to see that happen to my characters. I want to see Ramatra get, you know, special treatment. I want to see him get his mythic one day. It just annoys me that as time has gone on and as they've done more and more mythics, it just shows to us that, you know, they're just going to do the popular people all the damn time. But it's like, it's not even as if Ramatra isn't popular. They had a Chinese competition, they had a competition in China for fan-voted skins, like fan-created skins. And Ramatra won. He won. He was number one. Like, don't come to me and say that he is unpopular. He clearly is. At least in China. And I mean, judging by a lot of their decisions recently, they clearly are trying to like appeal to that audience. They're releasing like exclusive mini games over there with like the music festival skin line and the dating mini game. Like, he's popular there. I don't know why he's still not getting any treatment. It just annoys me. It really does. I mean, you get the idea. I've complained enough. You understand. Kiriko is a character that I initially liked, grew to hate as time went on, and my feelings about her have only soured as time has gone on, as I've learned more and read more about her. And yeah, that's all I have left to say. I thank you for listening to my rambles if you managed to make it this far. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, whether it be a good morning, afternoon, evening, etc. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined, or if you enjoyed my very angry rambles. And the next episode in this series is going to be on none other than Lifeweaver.